What's up, people of YouTube? This is Berserk130 back again, bringing you another deck profile. Yes, only you. I'm bringing you my Gravekeeper deck, and now I really like this deck. I use it all the time, and I just hope you'll enjoy. Let's begin with 3 Recruiters. Now, Recruiter is pretty much a staple, it's just a really nice card. Cool little rare, and it looks like Odeon. Everyone likes Odeon, right? Now we have 3 Gravekeepers Spies, more staples. 2 Gravekeepers Commandants. Notably, they're the only non-dark Gravekeeper, which makes them good for taking down, like, Consecrated Light. And they're a nice little Field Searcher. What about that? Next, we have 3 Gravekeeper's Descendants. Now, Gravekeeper's Descendant is really cool. Field advantage, hand advantage. It pretty much gives it all. 2 Gravekeeper's Assailants. Good targets for searchers, and they can take down things like Stardust with low defense, high attack. 1, Gravekeeper's Chief. Now this Gravekeeper's Chief is nice because he allows me to swarm, and his summoning is pretty much a +1, especially if I tributed a Gravekeeper's Recruiter to get him out. Next we have 3 Gravekeeper's Visionaries. Now, Visionary is really cool. I love this card. It is pretty much the core of the deck, and it does all the work. It can be as much as, like, 4,000 attack points I've gotten it to, and generally, it's just a really nice card. It can protect itself and make itself more powerful at the same time, but let's not get too much into it, or else I'll find myself ranting like a fanboy. Next, we have an original Magic Ruler, Mystic Tomato. Mystic Tomato is nice because, after all, more searching, because we didn't have enough searching. But it's just nice for some deck thinning, and come on, it's Mystic Tomato. What's not to love? Next, we have 1 Gravekeeper's Gravekeeper's Guard. Gravekeeper's Guard is good for taking down Xyz and Synchros. He's pretty much become a lot more useful now that those 2 came around. Now, we have 1 Malefic Cyber End Dragon. Yeah, Malefics. Yeah, I'm getting into that. Considering how I have a field spell on pretty much 24/7, Malefics are a good idea for a 4,000 beater. I don't think it's such a bad idea. And speaking of Malefics, the better Malefic Stardust Dragon. Now, Malefic Stardust Dragon is personally my favorite Malefic, because after all, he protects the very thing that keeps him alive. So it's a nice little mutual relationship. And a nice 25 beater whenever I need it. Now we go on to the spells. Dark Hole, pretty basic, Royal Tribute. I only run 1 because I found that a lot of the time it ended up being a dead draw because I would have a lot of Gravekeepers in hand that I was planning on using. And even though a lot of people run as many as possible, it's just not good enough, in my opinion. Next, we have 1 Gravekeeper's Steel. Another thing that you're going to be yelling at me for, only having 1. I could get a hold of more, but I simply don't like it enough. It just doesn't come that much in handy. And whenever it needs to be in handy, I happen to draw it anyway, because I do so much deck thinning. It pretty much doesn't even matter, because it's not that imperative. Next, we have 2 MSTs. The most standard, pretty much the splashable. Burden of the Mighty, because, after all, my monsters are going to have pretty high attack anyway, and if my opponents are piss weak, that's a pretty good thing. 1 Pot of Duality, mostly for the sole reason that I can't get 2 more. Pot is pretty cool, it adds speed and all that, and you know what it does. Next we have 2 Magical Dimensions. Now, Magical Dimension is great for monster removal, and it works, and it combos very well with Recruiter. And now we have the real bread and butter. Necrovalley. Necrovalley is just really awesome. 500 attack and 500 defense unconditionally to every Gravekeeper, and it locks down the graveyard. For everyone. Except with the Gravekeeper supports, in which case, that gets really tricky. Necrovalley is just so awesome, and a lot of people get so trolled, like Insectors and Wind-Ups, makes Wind-Up Rat notably useless. And it's just generally a really great card. Next we move on to Traps. I have quite a few of them, and not really as much as one would expect, considering how my high monster count too. But, well, I just give it a shot, and there's a lot of nice little traps here that work. Torrential Tribute. I'm gonna get 2 as soon as possible. It's really a very excellent card. It's basically a dark hole. No real explanation needed. Deck Devi. Deck Devi is just cool. It's nice against wind-ups and pretty much everything nowadays, because everything revolves around 1500 or less monsters that make big ones. And considering how that takes care of literally all of them, and I contribute practically any Gravekeeper while under Necro Valley to get it out, it's a great little card. Next we have 3, Rite of Spirits. Now, Rite of Spirit is great because it combos a lot with everything. And if I have 3 of them, there's pretty much always that option of having it there. It's basically a Monster Reborn that works through Necro Valley. So I can use a lot of loopholes in Necro Valley to avoid its effect. And next we have, oh man, I'm getting yelled at for this one, Fairy Box. Oh yes, Fairy Box. That little box of green Diglets. Those little green Diglets can protect my monsters at any time I need them, and I don't even have to pay the cost. It's great for just scaring my opponent off, and it can prevent a lot of really important things from happening, such as, oh, I don't know, attacks. Next, we've got Magician's Circle. Now, Magician's Circle is really great for Gravekeepers because it's like 99% spellcasters, 1% hot gas. And since the original attack of Gravekeeper's Visionary is only 2,000, I can pop him up and have a 3,500 beater late game. And finally, we have Mirror Force, ending on a very generic card, but still, just so awesome. Well, I hope you enjoyed. I'm probably expecting to get a lot of flack for this deck. It's just really fast, and it's got a lot of searching, and it's just a generally very awesome deck. That's about all I got today. I'll see you later, guys. Bye.